My name is Lila Buckely, and I am a senior researcher at IIED. I work with Jamie Skinner, and I am working on a stream of work looking at the role of Chinese actors in hydropower in least developed countries. Started about a year ago with us kind of exploring the question of really looking at, if we recognize that Chinese actors are playing a leading role in especially large dams, dam building going forward, what are the leverage points now these days and moving forward for improving the social and environmental safeguarding of large dams in least developed countries? And that's, looking from the observation that traditional actors such as the World Bank are no longer the key players to target for improving these social and environmental outcomes. And so it is a research project that's in collaboration with Professor Wang Hua at Renmin University. He's also the founder and director of the PACE Association, which is the Professional Association for China's Environment. And it's a collection of professionals that look at environment and development issues within China. And so we're working with him and some of his students to try to get a better picture of some of the drivers within China of the trends of Chinese hydropower overseas, as well as looking at existing literature and doing some interviews of civil society actors and other researchers looking at these issues to get a sense of where the gaps of knowledge are and then to identify our key question, which is around the leverage points. So within that, we have just to quickly kind of give an overview of the sub-questions that we're looking at, trying to get a better understanding of just the scope and scale of what we're talking about when we look at Chinese hydropower overseas. It's still not an easy picture to paint because there aren't official figures released by the Chinese government, and often actually not official figures released by the host countries either on specifically what those investments look like by what actors. So just trying to grapple with the available information that's there and make sense of it. Also looking at who the key players are, what are the key companies involved, what are the key finance actors, and what do we know about them? And then what can we say about what the finance patterns and drivers are of these investment patterns? And within that, also looking at business models. So what are Chinese companies doing once they are investing in hydropower, and what do those activities look like? How are the businesses set up? And we had hoped to really talk to companies directly and do some this was kind of a year ago when we first envisioned this research, was to do field work based on engaging directly with companies and being able to observe their practices. But because of the pandemic, we've had to adjust that slightly, and we're getting more secondhand information, but hopefully it'll still be enough to give us a sense of what further research can be done and where the gaps are. So we will have a working paper out in the early part of next year in January, February, and we're planning a webinar around that as part of the FutureDAMS webinar series. And then the aim is for that working paper to go into a journal submission sometime in the early part of next year. And then we would be looking at going forward, seeing where that research points to in terms of gaps for further research and collaboration. And it seems like there are plenty of gaps still in the research, and that that will point to probably another research paper in the following year.